Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Rottweiler Lifestyle. I've got a special guest today, Meho Husic with Vom Bosniak Rottweilers. Miho, welcome.
Good to be on your show.
I know you're a busy guy, we won't take too long. I wanted to talk to you because the topic I had in mind today was running a successful kennel. You're located in Bosnia, correct?
Yeah.
How long have you been a breeder?
Well, I got into dogs in 2002. I bought my uh, first purebred. I used to live in the United States in New Jersey between 97 and 99.
Okay.
I saw a husky there at a mall and a pet shop, and that was it for me. I fell in love. As soon as we returned back to Bosnia, my father had to run a company here in Bosnia. We returned, so I bought a dog here in 2002. So pretty much since then, I've been hooked. So then, regarding Rottweilers, end of 2007, I started working with Branko Lazic, managing House of Lazic Kennel, and
Okay.
I was there about maybe 5.5, 6 years. And because Branko is about like 3 hours drive one way from me, I thought it made no sense to me because I've finished school by then. I didn't want to be on the road every couple of days for 6 hours just to visit the kennel, make photos and stuff. So, but I was pretty much the guy in charge of marketing, making photos, website, and when the Facebook profile and stuff like that. So Branko was running the kennel at his home. I was doing the internet stuff.
Wow, that's a long 6 hour round trip just to do that. Wow, that's
Yeah, and I think in those 5.5, 6 years, I traveled too many miles.
wow.
So that's why I wanted to, because we didn't see eye to eye on some subjects, on some matters. So, and it made no sense to me because I've finished school by then. I used to study at the veterinary university in Sarajevo here. I
Okay.
finished that, but then never got into the vet practice just because vet practice here is mostly based on farm animals, not on small animals. So I didn't see myself working with cows, sheep, and stuff like that. So I got into uh, my Rottweiler breeding about four years ago. But I've been in the breed almost a decade now.
Okay. Wow. So that's a lot of dedication to be traveling that far for so many years. So when you say managing, what does that typically mean? Because I hear, there's a lot of big kennels throughout the world that do have managers, and it seems like they do a lot of promotion, a lot of marketing, advertising for that. Is that what you did for that kennel?
Pretty much because Branko was the one taking care of the dogs, but we made breeding decisions. It was his final say what to do and what not to do. But since I was in Huskies and I used to study at university, I know quite a lot about anatomy of the dogs and stuff, and he always wanted my insight regarding that. Not saying that he doesn't know himself, but unfortunately, many breeders, so-called serious big breeders, don't have a clue about anatomy, and they think they should be breeding dogs. That's the situation now. So pretty much it was marketing, making photos, presentation, handling of the dogs at the shows because we used to travel a lot together. We were there in the United States as well with two dogs at the Ziga show. So a
Got
lot
it.
of work. Yeah, but it's something I love. I love dogs. I'm used to driving, so it wasn't too much of a hassle for me to drive because it was once or twice a week. I
Got it.
didn't have to go every day, and sometimes I didn't go for 2 or 3 weeks. It's not when we need to make photos, when we have good weather and stuff. Then that's when I used to go to Broncos. But after 5, 6 years, I pretty much got to a
Decided.
conclusion. Well, I got to a conclusion that we didn't see a dog breeding the same in the same way. So
Got
I
it. So you
did
just
it didn't.
decided you could
Yeah.
do it on your own, and you were going to start,
I
your
didn't
own thing.
believe me. I didn't even want to breed Rottweilers. I
Wow.
didn't even. I wanted to make a break from the dog world because my father is into business. I wanted to devote my time to our family business. But you know how it is with dogs. Once you try it, you never fully end it. So
Yeah. Once you're in it, there's no going back.
yeah, because I know because I wasn't even 18 years old. I imported. I think I was probably the first one in ex-Yugoslavia or Eastern Europe to import fresh chilled semen from the United States. So that's how crazy I was regarding dogs, and I still am. So
Now, you mentioned something that got my attention, and I'm glad that you brought it up because this is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you. You said something about knowing the anatomy of a Rottweiler. In my opinion, there's, I want to say, 4 or 5 breeders worldwide that have what I call the look, right? Like, for example, Darko has that certain look. Love it or hate it, he has a
mm,
certain look. You can
I
see a
agree.
dog, you can see a dog, and you can say, hey, that's a Timitor line. Another big breeder, Tamara Christo out of Serbia. She's got that look. When you see a dog, you can say, that's that New Yorker look.
Mm.
Vom Bosniak has that look, has that Percy.
Well,
I call it the Percy look because I don't have a better
yeah,
term for it. But when you see your dogs, you can tell, hey, that's a Von Bosniak Rottweiler product.
I'm glad you said that. I think I'm not even close to achieving what I think I can achieve in breeding.
Okay.
So, but there are people who do have a distinct type. Overall look of the dog. When I say type, many people think type is just the head type. We're giving too much importance to the head, not looking at other parts of the dog, which are as important or even more important than the head. But overall look is what I mean when I say type. So
Got it.
mm, successful breeders had their type.
Exactly. Right. And
So,
that's why I said, love it or hate it. Some people agree with the look. Some people think, it's too short of a snout. It looks like this. It looks like it doesn't matter. Regardless, they have a product and they continuously produce that time and time again, breeding after breeding. So what was your first dog? What was the dog that kind of took Von Bosniak Rottweilers to the next level? Was it Percy?
mm, well, the first, my first male was Buster House of Lazi. He was well, I didn't even plan on breeding Rottweilers at that time. I just wanted to, because I used to breed Huskies for many years. I was very successful. My female was probably one of the top 3, let's say, Huskies for a couple of years running in the world. She had like almost 40 best in show wins. She beat the #1 USA Husky multiple times. So it was a big achievement. And but I got to love the Rottweiler character. That's why I got into dogs. That's why I wanted to have a Rottweiler at home. It ended up being my first Rottweiler and being a puppy world champion in Spain and IFF show. That's how it all got started. So my
Okay.
foundation female is female bred by a guy here in Bosnia, who I really liked the first time I saw her because of her character. Not many dogs. I've had many dogs, seen thousands of Rottweilers over the years. Not many dogs have the character she has. Her name is Shania. She doesn't have a last name. Her breeder doesn't have a kennel.
Okay.
She goes back to Priska, House of Lazic, and Elvis Mulvast as a bloodline. Priska for me was one of my favorite females. So, and I thought Shania could be a good basis just because she's not overly tight. Her head is not super extreme, which many people do take that sort of female for a foundation. My personal opinion is that the character is the basis of what you build on. If you
Okay.
have a weak character, you're just making problems for yourself down the road, because it's easy to get a specific look, but the character now, as time goes by, it's weaker and weaker. And that's why I chose Shania as my foundation female. And she's still here with me. She's no longer being used in breedings. She had her last litter early this year. Now she's just a pet and a guard dog.
Got it. So she's your queen then
Mm,
of the kennel.
I would say Shania and my stray pet Truba trumpet. And those are the two favorite dogs.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you said character, Miho, because so many people just go off of the look. Like you said, you've got a Rottweiler that looks beautiful, but his temperament is off. He's aggressive. He's not easy to handle. He's aggressive towards the judge at the shows, and at that point,
I would say the bigger problem nowadays is that we have no strong character in dogs. When I say strong character, I mean fearless. Rottweilers used to be fearless. I go to many kennels. You don't have that strong mentality which a Rottweiler should be. That's why I love Shania, because when I'm at the kennel, you can do pretty much whatever you want with her. She just likes to cuddle, play around, jump on you. And when I'm not there, she's the ultimate guard dog. So for me, this is what a Rottweiler is. It respects her owner. When I'm there, she's not causing any problems. When I'm not at the kennel, no one can go inside.
Got it.
So, and this is what I like about her. And she's producing this on her offspring as well. I have Candy, who's my best producing female, just because Shania only had 2 litters. Well, this is the last 3rd litter. But Candy produced some really, really super dogs. And the great thing about this bloodline is you pretty much have no worries regarding whelping, puppies, and because their maternal instinct is super, super. So, and this is what they get from their character, because why we say a female is much more worth for a breeder than a male, because the female raises the puppies. The male just gives the genes. So
I'm so glad that you said that, and I 100% agree that character is everything, especially a dog that size and that powerful. I 100% agree. I think that's exactly what the Rottweiler should be: a big baby when they're with you, and very fearless when they're not around you. And that's
she knows when she needs to protect and when she needs to be a baby. Not many dogs know that. And Candy is the same. I used to have Hira. Same character. Now I see this in my V litter from Candy, which I got. It's a line that Shirley is going to be leaving. I'm going to be staying with this bloodline just because I've bought some other females, tried out. It's not what I like. I'm not super crazy about super extreme type. For me, a dog must be a dog. And a dog means character, because not many people know the slight differences in type, in the anatomy and stuff. The basis for me is the character. So
now, how can you build that going forward? Let's say all the breeders say, you know what, you're right. We need to start building stronger character. So yes, you can start with the foundation female that has great character. Now, is that something you can teach going forward to your dogs, or is that something that they either have or they don't?
What I've noticed is that it's pretty much genetic, because the problem is, of course, dogs behave the way you show them how they need to behave. So this is normal, but let's say we treat all the dogs the same. Not all will have strong character. So it's not always possible to make a good character in a dog which doesn't have potential. Just like you can't make a show dog if it doesn't have potential. But if it does, you have the option of making or breaking a show dog. So
Got it.
same goes for character. At least that's my opinion. Maybe some people might have a different opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that that's what I think, and this is why I find it valuable to have a good character in dogs than build on.
Okay, totally respect that. So, how many dogs do you have in your kennel? Adult dogs that are part of your breeding program?
At the moment, I used to have a phase when I used to have Percy, which is the reason why I bought Percy is because I really, really like that type. Uh,
Okay.
and I'm not saying that he's super, super correct in his body, but overall type and appeal, color, the head is really, really impressive. But for me, not overdone and doesn't have the folds that you are usually associated with a strong, appealing head type. So no access skin, pitch black mouth pigmentation, dark eyes. So, and I know this bloodline, he's tightly line bred on the P litter House of Lazic. I thought it was the best way to go, just because I knew where he came from and what I can expect from him in breedings. But honestly, I think, and now looking back at it, I think I made uh, more than one mistake. I thought that breeding females with top bloodline, even though they're not super nice when you look at them. But I thought that with combining a good bloodline female tends to produce good puppies. My experience showed me that trying out things and which you're not sure of is not the best way to go. So now I just have Candy, Shania, and I have Boa from Vujanovic. Those are my three females. Shania is no longer being used in breedings. Candy is. And Boa, I still haven't bred her. She was in heat a month ago, but I didn't find a dog which I think would complement her. So that's why I decided to skip her heat. So I'm giving myself another 6 months to think it over, just
Okay.
because I don't want to make mistakes, which I used to. I had Percy, which I needed to show people his producing potential, and that got me into problems. When I say problems, I mean having 5, 6, 7 breeding females. I don't think no one uh, can have that much insight into the bloodlines and stuff to be able to work with 6 different bloodlines, or it's not possible. At least not for me. Maybe there's some breeders who are more capable than me. Mm, but I think one or two good producing females are more than enough for a successful breeding program. Of
I
course, in time, you need to bring in new bloodlines. I did that now just because I don't want to be stuck on the candy line through my V litter, which I have a couple of puppies really, really nice, and I'm planning to stick with that line. But I also imported um, one female from Russia and one female from a friend of mine from Morocco, but she was the female was bred in Serbia and then shipped out to Morocco. I got a female puppy from that, so I think that's more than enough
you
for
know, I
now.
I love what I'm hearing. So, I've heard you made mistakes. I've heard you say that you're taking your time, right? You're
Mm.
skipping this heat, thinking it over, planning the right breeding. I love that, and I congratulate you for taking the
I
breed seriously, because there's so many breeders in
I
Europe.
used to be. I don't want to interrupt you, but I used to be one of those.
Got it.
Let's give it a try. If nothing comes if nothing good comes out of what, well, we'll sell to some people who think it's good. I used to try out things and stuff. I don't want to I don't want to take chances. I want to do what's my job as a breeder. Think it through, check the bloodlines, find a male which would suit my female. Uh, too many of breed too many breeders nowadays think that breed any female to the best or the most popular stud and you're going to get quality.
Exactly. And they've got,
It doesn't go that way.
they've got 15 litters, 100 puppies year after year, and it's just all about the dollar. And they're not thinking about the breed. They're not thinking about the bloodline. They're just mass producing. They're almost like puppy mills, just puppy, 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 puppy. And it's like, you got to slow down. How, like you said, how can you have 7, 8, 9 breeding females and constantly got a litter being born every 2 weeks? It's like, there's no way any
Well,
single
probably
person.
because many of those breeders tend to care more about producing a dog which they will sell for good money. Not they. At least I look at it this way. It makes no sense to me to breed 15 litters per year because no matter if it's 15 litters compared to, let's say, my 2 litters, that doesn't give them much more of a chance of producing a good dog if they're not thinking it through. But the worst thing, in my opinion, is they don't care.
Right.
Breeders now don't care if they produce something they like. They just want to produce something they will sell. That's the situation here. I don't know the rest of the world, but
And that's the same situation in the United States. Believe me, I'm almost positive it's probably a bigger problem.
just because you see it in your own eyes, I think the bigger problem is here. So
That's okay.
yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, it's all perspective.
of course.
So
So
who are your young stars? I see social media every day. You've got you're posting beautiful dogs. What's his name? Voodoo, Vom
and
Bosniak.
that's
Absolutely.
my later. I used to have not many people know, but too. I wasn't hiding the fact that for almost 2 years I had some problem at the kennel. Still, I can't whelp my females here. Uh, I had puppies dying without any reason. I've had them tested at best vets here, and I took them to reproduction specialists. Built a whole new whelping rooms and so on and so on. And it didn't. It turned out that I can't whelp females here. I need to whelp them somewhere else and just bring the puppies at 10 days of age. And that's what I'm doing now. But it was hard fight against this. Believe me, seeing your puppies dying and not knowing that you did everything possible, but still not being able to help them made me reconsider. I was about to give up dog breeding just because I didn't want to. I
Keep
thought
going
I
through it.
would. Not me. I'm not. I was. You can't get used to it, but it wasn't a shock for me after a couple of litters. But I didn't want to be a puppy killer. That's what I thought of myself because
Got it.
litter after litter, I tried different medicine, different things to try and fix this. It wasn't working. So, and my last uh, option was sending out females to whelp in other people's home,
Okay.
and it worked. So I got, after about 2 years of fighting it, I got a real litter out of Candy and Armani Black Illusion, and I think God rewarded me for sticking to my love for Rottweilers. I got probably the best litter I've ever produced, and
So
I think
consistent.
time
Every
12
puppy in that
puppies.
litter looks.
Yeah,
I mean,
12 puppies. Believe me, two. I had 2 males out of 8 males in this litter. 2 males were at when they were 2.5, 3 months of age. I didn't want to even sell them.
wow.
That's how bad they were, because I'm super super critical when it comes to my own dogs. And those two males, I didn't like one bit. I didn't even post them on social media to try and sell them. This is what many breeders would do. I kept them here, tried to find them good pet homes. Didn't work out. They're now 9 months of age and well above average quality. So,
And
and
is Voodoo one of them?
Voodoo was the first pick in the litter, so I always knew he was going to end up
Got it.
to be an amazing dog, and he will be, because he's just now 9 months of age,
You know, it's funny.
and he looks really, really nice.
He reminds me of Percy. The dark
Mm.
markings, the coat. There's one photo of Percy. I don't. It wasn't recent, but there's one where he's looks like he's in a creek or near a lake, and he's all wet, and he's like walking through the water,
Mm.
and you can see the mountains in the background, and he looks like a little bear to me.
He
I
did
love.
have that. He did have that. When he got a bit older, Percy was like all charm, because I don't, I don't go to. Many people now go for the too extreme Mastiff type Rottweilers. I don't like this. That's what when you said we have a distinctive type. I like a charming dog. I don't like a boxer to see a boxer in a Rottweiler color. That's not. It doesn't do it for me. I like a smiley face, charming dog with not too much excess skin. A bit of excess skin is okay, but too much, I don't like this. And that's why I use Percy a lot, because he had many of the things that make him the appealing type, but didn't have that mastiff looking overall look. So, but when he got older, he did get that bear looking type. That probably goes back through his father, Freud, who's out of also that Devara bloodline mixed with Peggy, House of Lazic.
Well, he was
And
definitely.
Voodoo has that as well. But I think he's more leaning towards because Candy goes back to Priska through Shania to Priska, and Percy is line bred on that P litter. And that's where it comes from.
Got it. Well, he was definitely charming, and he definitely had that smiley face every
That's
time
what I
he
like. Many
posted a photo.
people don't like that.
Right.
Many people like a square muzzle, boxer looking dogs. And we see this for the most popular dogs, which are bordering with the type of another breed. So, but it is what it is.
So which?
The
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
but Voodoo is not the standout in the litter. The best dog in this litter, at least I think so, is Vicky. It's his sister. She was a rump in the litter. She was born half the size of the other puppies. She was half the size of the puppies at about 2 3 months of age. The pup stayed in the whelping rooms and the kennels. I took her inside with me. She used to live with me like for about 6 months, and now she's. I'm looking forward to next year's show season. Finally, I have something. Like I said, I'm very, very self-critical, so it really takes a lot for me to be satisfied with what I produce. Like I told you, in Huskies, I had that a female called Bosniak's Fatal Attraction, Fate. Pretty much Vicky is that. The first dog, I had many dogs, but she's the one which I really, really like. She's appealing, she's pretty, has character, has temperament, but also has the balance and the correct Rottweiler anatomy, which nowadays is very, very, very rare.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that on Instagram. You called her your next big show star. So
She's
that's
gonna be,
yeah,
believe me.
that'll be interesting to look out for.
Uh,
So do you have any males in your kennel? I remember, I know you posted you got Voodoo, Razor. Is he with you?
Razor, I sold Razor to Norway to a good friend of mine,
Okay.
but since his ex owner is an older guy, and Razor is totally crazy ball drive. He just looks at you all the time wanting a tennis ball. He couldn't stand it, and he asked me if he can send him back, and we'll work something out later on. So Razor is now here. He's a Percy daughter bred to Lex, which many people find interesting. The combination of bloodline is interesting to a lot of people, but I'm taking my time with him. We'll see. Maybe next year I'll show him as well in the adult classes. But I personally don't like showing too many dogs because that way you can devote enough time to what. If you have 4 dogs, it's in big shows. It's pretty much impossible to show.
That's actually what I was going to ask you next. I know you're at a lot of the shows, and it seems like you do a lot of photo and video for people. Is that correct?
This year I didn't because 2 years without a litter, I didn't have something to show. So I did take my photo camera and made photos just for people. I know how it is. I was in a breed which is the basis of that breed is in the United States, and every bit of information, photo I could find was very valuable to me. So that's why I do those photos. It's not something I do professionally. It's just to help out people who are interested in to seeing dogs without their professional advertisement. It's just what they look at the show, look like at the show. So that's why I did this. But I'm not a photographer. Many people ask me to make photos of their dogs. If I can help out, I do it. But I don't do this professionally.
Okay.
So, and I haven't been showing much. I told you I'm very, very self-critical. I have dogs at my kennel which I never showed them at shows, who are a class above many of the champions I see at shows. But that's just me. Some people call me even crazy because I have way above average quality, and I don't take them to shows. Many people think it's because they're not trained or stuff. No, it's just I'm very hard to please.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, I can see where it's a bad thing, right? Because I'm sure that if you showed most people your dogs, they'd be like, "Are you crazy? What do you mean this dog is not good enough to be in a show? He's beautiful." And so that's where I guess it could be a bad thing.
Pretty much those people who would. That's a difference between me and many of the breeders. I don't think success comes from lying to yourself and then lying to others, because lying to yourself makes you believe your own lies, which then makes you tell lies to others, and yet you don't consider them lies. Without being self-critical, you can't achieve anything, which will prove to be valuable as time goes by. You can make a flash, you can make some success. People think you have good dogs, but then it all comes crumbling down. For me, building a house without foundation is the most stupid thing you can do. So
that's powerful.
The same goes with dogs. So if I do, I'm pretty sure 80% of breeders which would visit my kennel from around the world, it doesn't have to be from here, anywhere, 80% of them would say I'm crazy for not showing some of the dogs I don't show. I'm a young guy. I'm 30 years old. I've been in dogs for over 15 years. So there's time for me to prove if my way of reading and my way of thinking is correct or not.
That's powerful stuff. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what this show is about. The show is about interviewing successful Rottweiler owners, breeders, judges, anyone that's influential in the Rottweiler world. And like I said, this is all subjective. Just like you think you're critical, that's okay. That you're supposed to think that, right? Because they're your dogs, it's your kennel. You want to breed the best. And in my opinion, like I said, that's why I consider you to be a successful breeder and to own a successful kennel. With that being said, I want to transition into having a kennel is a lot of work. Some people just think it, you get a female, you get a male, you breed them. So many people don't know how much work and money and effort and time goes into running a kennel on a day-to-day basis. What does a typical day at your kennel look like? What time do you get up? Do you feed your puppies? When do you
At,
finally call it a
at
day,
the
come inside
moment,
and
I don't
relax?
have too many dogs.
Okay.
I used to have one, two kennel workers at one time. When I used to have Percy, I had much more dogs than I do have now. I have at the moment 15, including all the puppies I kept. So it's like six adults, and all the others are less than a year old. So if you love this, it it's not hard work at all.
Okay.
It's something I enjoy doing. Uh, when my last kennel worker, she moved to Germany, and after that, I didn't want to have a kennel worker just because I don't think anyone will do
The same job that you can.
and none of them will treat the dogs as I would. So because they consider this their job, I consider it my passion, and of course, I'm gonna devote much more time to the dogs. Another thing what I noticed about kennel workers is they don't even think twice whether their actions what they can cause to the dogs. For me, building up a character of a puppy is through simple things. If you want to have a quality show dog and a breeding dog as well later on, many what I've noticed is many breeders tend to make dog brats out of dogs because just like many parents, they love their children, but they don't do them any justice by giving them everything what a child wants.
They spoil them.
Breeder, yeah. So uh, dogs are really, really easy to work with. I have all of the dogs at my kennel. Each one of them knows where their kennel is. When I say go to the kennel, they go to the kennel because I'm the pack leader here. I had a situation about 5, 6 weeks ago. I usually let one dog overnight outside in the kennel, and I have also kennel runs, and I put one dog in each kennel run during the night, and I switch during the day. So even if I don't train them, they get to exercise by themselves because I have my other. I'm not a full-time kennel worker because I have my obligations. Not it's just part-time for now until I see what I'm where I'm going with my breeding program, but I do have some obligations in my father's company as well. So,
Okay.
but I've noticed the dogs are much happier if you're the pack leader. If one of them is not the pack leader, then you have a problem. Like I said, 5, 6 weeks ago, I came to the kennel after fed the dogs, the pups in the morning, went to the office. When I returned, they were like, I left Voodoo, Vegas and Vicky outside. They opened the kennels, or maybe like seven kennels, other kennels, and there were like 9 dogs there, 2 adult males, 2 adult females, and 5 litter mates out of the V litter. Not a single problem. Why? Because they don't need to fight who's the boss here. We know, but he's not here. He'll return later on, and there was not a single issue. So that's what why I say it's always good to be the pack leader because the dogs enjoy their life more than if they need to fight for the alpha position with some other dogs. So I really have no issues with my dogs. So pretty much my daily routine, I wake up 7:30, make myself a cup of coffee. In the meantime, I go let out the puppies in the puppy runs, give them food, and then return. Now I have a female puppy which I got from Morocco. She's inside with me, so she's the first dog I go to give food let her outside so she can go potty, and then pretty much I clean the kennels later in the afternoon because I give food to the dogs in the morning, not a lot, but they all get 2 meals per day. So I clean the kennels maybe at about 2 p.m. Between 10 and 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's the time. I don't usually do too much physical training with the dogs like many breeders do. I, for me, playing with the dogs can be as effective for shows as physical training on a treadmill or a bike and stuff. Because I take out 3 4 dogs at once. They all just want a small tennis ball because when you devote enough time to the puppies, even if they don't, they're gonna do everything you ask them to do,
Right.
just if you play with them. So it's many people have a problem and their dogs don't have enough ball drive. Just play with the dog. If the dog has a good connection with you and you raise the puppy in a good way, where pretty much kennel dogs, their whole life is the time they spend with you. Because
Okay.
I don't let them have individual smaller packs. My V-litter did grow up together, all of them, and they play all the time with them, with each other. But when I'm there, they all look at me. They don't look at their sister or the brother. Oh, let's go play. The two of us will play together. Leave the other ones alone. No, they all want to play with me. So if that's the case, you can pretty much teach any dog that it's a good thing to play with the tennis ball. Once you do that, they're gonna do it just because you play with them. But people don't. They have a problem kneeling down, acting as a dog with the dogs, because you can't be standing up on your feet and thinking that the dogs will consider you as their pack member.
Got it.
You
Well,
need to be a dog in their eyes, just a bit bigger dog than them. So
that's a good way of putting it. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of dogs that are happy, healthy, and enjoy being a dog. Because I've been to some kennels where they've got the males completely separated, the females completely on the other side, and none of them interact, and they can only bring them out, one dog at a time, and that creates aggression, and I feel like that passes that.
you know why that is? Because every individual dog doesn't get enough individual time with you to show them how they need to behave. So my dogs, I don't have an issue. I used to have 30 dogs at one time, but at that time, I didn't have. I wasn't the one working. I was working full time at the office, so I had a kennel worker. Neither. Well, it was very rarely that I would let 5 6 dogs together in the kennel, just because the kennel worker didn't devote enough time to each one of them to show them what's normal behavior and what's not to be tolerated. And I've shown my puppies, but you don't have to use too much strength, physical power over the puppies. Just show them when they're 2 3 months of age. It's easy to teach a dog to behave the way you want them. So I have now like 15 dogs. All of them can be outside. I don't even have to be at the kennel. They're not going to cause problems.
And I agree. I think you're right. A lot of these breeders, these owners, don't spend enough time with their dog. A little bit, just to give them food or clean out their kennel. Or,
Yes.
but mostly
And they,
in breed. It's the only time they're around them is when they're breeding them, and then that's it. They go back in the kennel and they don't see.
I know I used to. I'm not one of those who likes to talk trash about others, but
You see,
that's one of the reasons why I ended my relationship with Branko, just because we didn't see eye to eye. I'm not saying that Branko always had a lot of dogs, and he enjoys having a lot of dogs. He enjoys feeding the dogs, looking at them while they eat. I know this, but I don't think 20 females for breeding is something you can say is a serious breeding program. And
no,
that's why I decided,
I
because
agree.
and believe me, for 3 4 years I had the same issue, because working 5 6 years with Branko, many of his policies I started using when I started breeding. And
Okay.
believe me, I don't I don't think it's the correct way. That's why I have two females which can be bred in the next year or so. Only two.
Now
So
let's talk about that for a little bit. You seem like, I mean, obviously you study pedigrees. What's your mad science about this? How do you decide? Because obviously you're very picky, you're very critical about your dog. So when you're saying, okay, I'm gonna buy a puppy from Russia, from Morocco, what is it that you're studying? What is it that Miho looks for in a pedigree, and just going back from the parents, grandparents, three, four, five generations, in order for you to say, okay, that's a dog I'm gonna go with?
believe me, nowadays it's hard. When I used to breed huskies, there wasn't as much breeding going on as it there is now in Rottweilers. So um, until I bred outside of my kennel, I didn't have some issues which obviously many breedings do have: missing teeth, missing testicles. This is what reality in the breed now. It's unfortunate, but it is. Uh, why? Because many of we're speaking about breeding policies and ways of producing good dogs. And the problem is that I don't think it's the time is not right to speak about this subject, just because I don't think the breeding is being done by the breeder anymore. It's being done by the market. It's
Wow.
unfortunate, but that's how I see it. I think the breeders no longer. There are some breeders who know a lot about dogs here, but even them, they don't breed what they like. They breed what the market likes.
Wow, that's
So it
so. I'm so glad, and sorry to cut you off, but I'm so glad you're saying what a lot of people are thinking, are just too afraid to say it. And I appreciate your input and your knowledge about this, because it's absolutely true. One thing I've noticed in the last several years, each dog has a wave, right? And I'm not going to name any names of dogs, but you
it's
know,
better not to.
right, it's better not to.
Yeah.
But you've got every year there's at least one dog where everybody in the world wants to produce, wants to breed their female with. It's so funny though, because when the dog first came out and started gaining notoriety and popularity, a lot of people weren't fans of that dog. But over time, a lot of people start gaining interest. There's a lot of likes, there's a lot of views on the video, and now that breeder says, "Whoa, everybody wants a dog from that male." Well, I guess I might as well, get some semen or do a live breeding with that dog, because that's what everybody wants. And it's so true, and I'm sure that happens over there, and it definitely happens here in the States, where people aren't paying attention to the pedigree. They're just taking whatever females in heat and breeding that female to whatever dog is popular at the moment. It's like a phase.
Like I said, there is no breeding policy anymore. There's just what the market wants, the market gets. That's where what breeders are nowadays, and that's why we see so many things in the breed which we never had. Overly angulated dogs in the rear. We never had steep croups in the Rottweiler breed. We get that more and more as years go by, just because breeders don't care what will happen in a couple of years, as long as they're doing financially good in the present. So
100% agree. Now, let's say just for fun, right? Because again, this is all subjective. If you had to create a breeder policy that everybody had to follow, what would be the top 3 policies that you would force if you could? And I know you can't, but if you were to create the Miho Bible of Rottweiler breeding, what would be your top 3 policies?
look at the dog, not the show results. Look at the dog, not the amount of breeding he's doing. That's the 2 basic things.
Okay.
Because my best producing female is out of a dog which had 2 shows. Why? Because I could care less if someone says he's good enough. If he is good enough for me, then that's why I breed to him. We hear this a lot. The ex-Yugoslavian breeders, they have 2 extreme types. They're changing the breed. It's not no longer a Rottweiler type, and so on and so on. It made sense until the ones who should be taking care of the breed didn't do the same as they do. What I mean about that, we have breed clubs which have a dozen people making decisions, probably even less. And they're the ones that should be taking care of the breed. And what do? They talk trash about some dogs that's over extreme type and so on and so on. And what did they do when they see him at a show? They give him the V1, V2 placement for a dog which they constantly claim it's not a Rottweiler type dog. Why do this? Why do this? You know why? Because money makes the world go around. They like money as well. Obviously, much more than the breed. So after seeing this, it makes no sense to me that someone should be teaching me how to breed, and this is not good. This is not. Many of those who think they have the responsibility and the right to tell me and breeders like me what to do are the ones who also showed me that they have no decency regarding their stance on the breed. They should be the ones, because usually the ones who are in politics, they don't breed themselves, but they should be taking care of the breed, and they do take care of the breed until a good money offer comes their way. When it does, they forget about the breed. They think of themselves. So why blame others for wanting to produce dogs which the market wants if the judges who should be monitoring the breed do the same?
I 1000% agree, Miho.
It's something that many people will find offensive, but in my eyes, this is the reality.
Yeah, it's the truth, and nobody wants
We can lie to ourselves as long as we want. Same goes for dogs being used in breedings.
I agree. It's a problem worldwide, and that's the problem with the Rottweiler breed is it's hard to find integrity. I mean, my personal dealings, and I'm not saying I'm this Rottweiler god or know-it-all, but I've dealt with people that were not trustworthy, and there's a lot of those, and I can count on one hand on how many people that I actually trust. What's funny is that I felt like I trusted you before I never spoke to you. I never met you. But the fact that you were so low key and you post all your dogs and it doesn't seem like you're showing them a lot, it was more intriguing and mysterious for me because I said, well, I knew you had a different angle because everybody can't wait to take their dogs to shows. It can't wait to breed their dogs. And you seem so low key and you keep producing, again, in my opinion, fantastic dogs. Yet it seems like, you keep to yourself. And obviously, after speaking to you, that's what I'm getting from.
I'll tell you the reason why that's the case. I've shown a female 1 year, not my breeding, Branco's breeding, a female she had 8 shows that year, 7 V1s and 1 V2. Out of those 8 shows. It was 7 ADRK judges. I showed that female at the ADRK Club Ziegler. You know what she got? SG. That's when I told myself,
Wow.
I'm not going to be the one filling the pockets of the show organizers and just being a number in the catalog. And I could care less what buyers think regarding my dogs. If they don't know enough about dogs to see the quality that I'm producing, then so be it. They're just not the ones who I need to be interested in. The problem is that many other people's breeders don't look at this the same way I do. They just care about selling the dog, not producing a good dog in their own mind. So
Got it. Well, obviously they're not your customer, and they're not the people that you want to be selling your puppies to. So I agree. I love the perspective. Okay, so we talked about Rottweilers. You shared amazing information with me. What do you like to do for fun? Let's get into that. I always like to switch it up. I saw that you posted on your social media. I don't know if it was your car or you were driving for fun, but I'm a car guy. I saw you in a Mercedes. Was that your car?
that was no. It was when I was visiting my friend, a really, really good, one of the best people I've met since being in the Rottweiler world.
Okay.
A guy who I consider a dear friend to me in Morocco. His name is Amin. It's his friend's car. We just drove by because I like cars, but I'm not too crazy about cars because the standard in Bosnia is pretty low compared to many developed countries. It's a third world country. We're in a transition, so I just don't pay too much attention to the flashy things like many other people do nowadays. What I do for fun, I have a couple of genuine friends who I like to spend time with.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. We usually spend time here at the kennel. I have a small kennel house. So, like all other young people, like we go out, but not too much. So,
Got it. So you like to keep to yourself, few friends, a lot of dogs. Well, not a lot in your eyes, but
a
it
lot.
seems like
I think it's a lot. It's too much.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I can relate because it seems like you're a quality versus quantity kind of person, and that's I'd rather have a little bit of greatness than to have a lot of sort of friends or I'd rather have.
I'm that way.
Yeah, so
I'm totally that way. I think my parents are good people. They taught me that what really matters in life. So, and I keep to myself. I don't like to show off. I have a small circle of friends who I consider friends, and I have my dogs, and that's pretty much it. I'm just an ordinary guy.
That's it. A happy life.
Yeah.
Now, you said you're 30?
30, yeah.
Yeah, I just when's your birthday? I just turned 30 December 15th. I feel
4th of October, so.
Oh, okay. So you just turned 30 as well. Do
Yeah.
you feel different? Because I don't feel any different. Some people are like, oh, you're
When I look at myself in the mirror and I see that my hair I'm losing hair year in, year out, I do feel a bit differently, but inside I'm the same as 5 years ago. But I do notice that as I'm getting older, many of the things that used to be important to me are no longer important to me.
I was just gonna say that I live in LA, right? And I moved here 5 years ago, and I was all about the fancy this and the fancy that. Even though I wasn't raised that way, but for some reason, I was just attracted to that lifestyle. I don't think 26, 27, 28, or even 30 is old, but I just like you, as I get older, I find that all I care about is being healthy, being with family, being with great friends, and my dog. I actually just got a puppy a week ago.
Yeah.
And that's all that I care about. I don't care about, you know, the flashy cars and the money, and you know, obviously you need money to survive. I'm learning that the older I'm getting, the more simpler life I want to be living. So I don't know.
Or you say simple. Uh, that's because I've noticed with myself. It's not when you go back 10 years ago. 2 years doesn't mean much, but 2 years makes you much more mature.
Right.
When you're 28 to 30, than it does from 20 to 22 years of age.
Exactly.
So, and it's gonna be, well, that's normal that we're changing. So, and the way we look at life changes, that's totally normal, and it's good that it is that way. I would ask myself, am I on the right path? If I thought the things that mattered to me when I was 23 years of age still matter the most to me now, I would say I'm not improving, because as my father tells me many times, only fools don't change.
Change is good. I'm starting to learn that as well. I used to be afraid of it, but now I embrace it. So that's good. Miho, I appreciate your time. I know you've got a get together that you've got tonight. Real quick though, if people want to follow you, get a puppy from you, what's your social media? Where can people find you at?
My Facebook profile, Meho Husic. It's gonna be merging with in the next couple of weeks with my Facebook page,
Okay.
Vom Bosniak Rott, and also I have a Facebook page, Vom Bosniak Rott, and Instagram profile, and that's pretty much it. And also my website is being done as well, so it's gonna be up and running. It's up and running now, but it's still not finished, so
still under construction.
BosniakRott.com.
You said BosniakRottweiler.com?
Yeah, VomBosniakRott.com.
Perfect. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
In a couple of weeks, it's going to be finished, so people can get an insight through my website as well, and it's going to have links to all the social media profiles. So
awesome.
Whoever feels interested in following what I do, they can get in touch with me, ask me whatever they want. No strings attached. I'm happy to speak to people who love the breed for what it is, not just to speak to people in order to sell them. Maybe we can do this another time as well for another topic.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Miho. Happy holidays. I hope you have a great new year. Happy 2018. And I hope you have a great Saturday with your friends.
Hopefully. Thank you. And have a happy holidays as well. And Happy New Year to you and the ones following you. So,
thank you, Miho. We'll talk soon, okay?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.